Hi, Sean Budden here with D3 Technologies. Today I'd like to give you a quick peek at the P&ID Drawing section of the Plant 3D Suite. You'll find that all of this, as you can see on the screen, is based on regular AutoCAD. So if you have some AutoCAD knowledge, it should be very easy to pick up the concepts used in the creation of P&IDs using this program. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. The first thing I'll do is I'll go ahead and open up a project that I have created, and I'll make sure that I'm loading in my project file, the XML document. I'll open that up and you'll see that it comes up as Project X, and what I want to do is I want to go ahead and create a P&ID drawing in here. So I will, in my project, I've created a folder that says P&ID Drawings. I'll go ahead and create another folder here just so that we can do this possibly by area of the plant. I'll call this Area 100. And then I'll go ahead and create a drawing in here, and I will call this one Pumps and Tanks. So now within the Area 100 we have this drawing which is called Pumps and Tanks, and you'll see the P&ID drawing has come up. It appears to be as paper space because we won't be doing any specific scaling in the P&ID drawing. Everything is pretty much written in a schematic form. So we'll go ahead and draw it right into actually the model area of what appears to be the way it will print out. Okay? And just for the sake of discussion, I am using my snap to grip function on here just because I want to use it to kind of easily place things out on the grid. Of course, using regular AutoCAD terminology, you can change the size of that grid or customize it any way you want, even turn it off if it doesn't appeal to you. But in any case, let's go ahead and get started with the P&ID drawings. Now, as you can see, I have my normal AutoCAD ribbon up here. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down here to my workspace settings, and I'm going to change this to a P&ID work environment. And I'm going to go ahead and choose the PIP, P&ID section. And when you do that, you'll see that tool palettes come up specific to P&ID drawings, as well as a ribbon that is customized for doing P&ID drawings. Now, the first thing that I'm going to do once I get this started up is I'm going to place some equipment in here. So the first equipment that I'm going to place, I'm going to look for a storage tank. So I'll go down here to the Equipment tab of this palette, and I have a little bar right here that I can scroll down and view everything. And I'll just choose one of these storage tanks. And as you can see, I can go over here and I can place it. And I'll go ahead and give myself enough room. I'd like to be able to snap to that grid, so I'll go ahead and make sure that I have my snap and grid turned on. There we go. Let me try that one more time. Everything is on. And I'll go ahead and change the size of those. And I'm just changing it to a 1/4 inch grid spacing here. Okay, I'll go ahead and place out my storage tank there. The first thing they'll ask you to do is give a scaling of it, but I'll go ahead and just enter that I want it scaled normally. That are ×1. And now we're going to go ahead and start with our tank numbering. You can give it a specific number, or you can say take the first available number, and that's what I'll do. So this will be number 1, and I'll go ahead and put that label right in here, and as you can see, it comes up as a dome roof tank. All right. Cool. Let's go ahead and find ourselves another vessel on here, and this vessel we'll go ahead and put in as a taller vessel. I'll give myself a little bit of space here, make sure it fits on the page. Okay, and drop that in, take its scaling, take the next available tank, And I'll drop that label in there like that. All right, great. So now we have a couple of tanks in here. We've got a dome tank and a vertical vessel. I'm going to go ahead and throw in a pump here. Go ahead and looking on the equipment list, I'm going to scroll up here, find the pump, and I'll drop a pump here. Take the next available, tag it, and I'll go ahead and spacebar to repeat that function. Drop in another pump, next available number, and there we go. So now we have our tanks and as well as a couple of pumps. So now what we'll go ahead and do is we'll get some piping in. I'll go ahead and switch my palettes to the line section, and I'll just take a regular primary section of a line there. And I'm going to go ahead from the discharge of this tank down to the pump. So I'll go ahead and zoom in here, and I'll do a click on there and start bringing this line out to where our pump is. Now I don't kind of like the way that went, so I'll go ahead and click on this line right here, and I can easily move that back. As well as I can drop this down. And now we have the connection point right there. So those things are easily editable in this software. So as you can see, we're coming off here, but I don't really like the way that this nozzle came around. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to rotate that nozzle out and put it going that way. Alright, so now we have our flow going here, and we'll go ahead from the output side of the tank and take that to the top of the vessel. I'll go ahead and make an endpoint connection here. Temporarily turn off my snap. And we'll go ahead and connect that line there. So now we're going from here, we have our flow going to that tank as well. Alright, so now that we've got the lines in there, we can go ahead and we can place in a couple of valves into the line. So let's go over here to where the discharge of this tank is, and we'll go to our valves here. And let's go ahead and put a gate valve in to this line, and we'll put that in right there. And let's put a check valve here. Now, once we use this check valve here, we can also edit it. We can keep it normally open, normally closed. And we can change the flow of the direction. So by using this arrow here, we can change the direction of the flow. If we really didn't want the check valve right there, we can substitute it with another component, and we could even maybe change it to a ball valve here. And as you can see, that ball valve is in a closed position, but we can set the open state to say that it should be normally open. Okay, so we dropped a couple of valves in there. Like I said, I'm just giving you a couple of examples of how to drop these things in. And perhaps we would want an instrument in our line. So let's go ahead and put in an instrumentation line. And we have several lines that we can choose from, but we'll try this supply line and the instrumentation line. We'll go ahead and just put it there. And then we'll go ahead and pull ourselves an instrument. And we'll put it right there at the end of that line. We'll identify what that transmitter is. We'll just say, we'll call it a flow indicator right here. We'll say it is in the 100 loop of area 100. And we'll go ahead and assign that tag to it right now. And there we go. There we have our instrument line placed in there. Okay, so now it would kind of make sense to be able, let's go ahead and add a couple of lines that actually go off the page here. So I'm going to go ahead and add a line at the top of this tank. Sending it in an off the page direction. And we'll go ahead from the bottom of this vessel here. And we'll send that one going off the page as well. All right, so let's go ahead and tag some of the lines that we have here. We've tagged some of our equipment. Let's move this pump symbol down since it's kind of interfering with our there we go. We'll go ahead and move that right there so that it won't be in the way. And now we can go ahead and we can tag our lines. We can take this first line, give it a little right click there and assign a tag to it. We can identify the size of the line. We can say which service it is. We'll go ahead and just say that. And we'll give it a unit name. We can give it a line number. We can say if it is insulated and what type it is. And then we'll go ahead and pick the spec of the line that we're using. So now that once we do that, we can go ahead and click that on. And we have this line already labeled in for us. Okay. So now if you want to, you can go ahead and you can add that line in. You can annotate it. You can do the same thing, go through all that, and then you can label those as well. Okay, so that was just an example of how you would go ahead and do the lines. So after you do that, then you want to mark your off-page connectors. So let's go ahead and take a look in the tab that says non-engineering here. And we'll find the little icon or the marker that says an off-page connector. We can go here and pick the starting point of where that's going to go. As you can see, it's marked right there. Now you see it's kind of going off the page a bit. So what we can do is we can take this and we can move this back. There you go. And you can see at the moment it is not connected to another line. That little symbol right there is going to tell you that it is not actively connected. Okay, and we'll go to this side and we will add our off-page connector as we did on the other. We can move it if necessary. Put that back because it's really not necessary to move that one. Let's go ahead and zoom in here. And this is your connection point right here. What we can do is we can take this and we can move this back. And let's go ahead and move that one to meet it. All right, and now you can see that it is not technically connected as well. All right, so while we're on this line right here, let's go ahead and tag this line as we tag the others. I'm going to go ahead and assign a tag to it. We'll say that this is a 6-inch line, and we're going to put this in, just for the sake of discussion, put it there. We'll say that this is still in unit 1. We will give this a 101 pipe group, and we will put anti-sweat insulation on it, and we'll keep it at carbon steel. We'll go ahead and assign that and put that in, and we'll go ahead and put a valve in there. And as you can see, once you put in a pipe tag, the valve is pretty much going to follow. You see it has a 6-inch value as well. Okay, so if we went into here and changed that, and let's say we changed it to 8 inches, you would see the valve would also change to 8 inches. So that's just a short demo of some of the things that you can do with Autodesk P&ID drawings. I hope you found it informative. Thank you.